What's up, everybody? Justin here. I'm back with another countdown. I told you, this is the week of countdown videos. This is my fourth countdown of the week. Hope you enjoy it. It's my top 10. It's a top 10 countdown. It's my top 10 wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. My top 10 wrestlers that had no business still wrestling in the ring. Not just at their age, but they just had no business in the ring because they were no good. This number 10, I'm going to get a bit angry about some of these because I think they had no business in the ring. First off, they couldn't wrestle, a lot of them. And they just were in wrestling probably because they had a weird look or a scary look or a good look, I don't know. Or some of them might have drew money. Number 10, this guy's a scumbag. He pisses me off. The guy is real scum. The guy gave another wrestler hepatitis C. The guy's scum. He actually gave a wrestler, Hannibal, he gave him hepatitis C. And now Hannibal's on YouTube, and the guy is Hannibal TV. He has a really good YouTube channel. Everybody should subscribe to Hannibal on YouTube. The guy does a lot of good shoot interviews and a lot of good interviews with other older wrestlers. So, top 10 wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. Number 10, this guy is probably the worst out of everybody on the top 10. This guy pisses me off the most. He's scum. He's a scum person. He's a scumbag. He's a piece of shit, in my opinion. He never deserved to become a star in the wrestling business. Number 10, Abdullah the Butcher. Abdullah the Butcher, the guy is shit. The guy's an awful person, awful human. And the guy was an awful wrestler. The guy, I don't think, knew a wrist lock from a wristwatch. The guy was absolute shit in the ring. And the guy looked like shit. Looked like a fat fucking Jar Jar Binks. Not Jar Jar Binks. That fat blob that's in Star Wars. I forget. I think it's Jar Jar Binks, or maybe that's another character. I don't know. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I've never seen a full Star Wars movie ever. I've seen bits and pieces of a lot of them, but they're boring to me. I'm not a Star Wars fan, and I'm not a Star Trek fan either. So anyways, honestly, I'd rather watch a movie like E.T. Great movie, but I'd rather watch E.T. like a million times over and over and over than try to watch a Star Wars. I just don't care for Star Wars. When I was a little kid, Star Wars was past coming out. I was born in the early 80s. I didn't care for Star Wars. I became a fan of Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles as a kid. That's what I was into. I was not into Star Wars. And I was into pro wrestling, obviously, when I was a kid. I would rather watch like the same matches that I love and that I've seen a million times. I'd rather watch those matches over and over than, again, see a Star Wars. I've seen enough of Star Wars movies. I know I would not be interested in watching a whole movie. Sorry, I don't want to waste my time doing that. I'd rather watch horror movies that I've never seen. I'm always looking for new horror movies to watch with on Shudder or Amazon Prime or any other service. So, anyways, Abdullah the Butcher in 1991, probably way before then. The guy should have not been wrestling. He shouldn't have been. I didn't even want to see Abdullah the Butcher at the first Starrcade in '83. I didn't watch it in '83. I was like a couple months old, but I've seen it. Abdullah the Butcher, Carlos Colon. I thought it was shit at the first Starrcade. Abdullah should have not even been on the show. And in 1991, why the fuck did he come back and WCW brought him back and gave him a contract for like a year? It was pathetic. And he continued to wrestle. Oh, that fat. All I can picture in my head right now, and all I can think of is a fat blob character from Star Wars. If you know his name, tell me in the comments. Or tell me on Twitter at WWE NXT Guy what is a fat blob character's name from Star Wars. That's what Abdullah the Butcher looks like. And the character from Star Wars, if it ever got inside a ring, and if it was a real person, it would be a better worker and better wrestler than Abdullah, the shithead Butcher. Number 10, wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. 1991, Abdullah the Butcher. He had no business wrestling in the 80s. I don't know when he debuted, maybe late 60s or 70s. I don't know. I don't care. Abdullah the Butcher, that's for you. If I ever saw you, I'd spit in your face. And it's a disgrace that you're in the WWE Hall of Fame. They just put you in because you were in the same damn city, in my opinion, and they didn't have to fly you out. And you're not a hardcore legend. All you ever did, Abdullah, was this with your blade. You get punched in the head, you go like this. That's all you could fucking do. Number 9. He was okay in the 80s. He's not the worst wrestler I've ever seen. He was not one of the worst. But in 1994, in WCW, they brought him in. I don't know why. Bischoff said he brought him in, I think, as a favor to Hogan or something. Because Hogan was bringing him up. That you should bring him in. I don't know why, but whatever. I don't know why Hogan was ever nice to Honky Tonk Man and ever wanted to do favors for him and get him jobs. I believe Hogan also got Honky Tonk Man is number 9. I don't know why Hogan ever got him a job in WWF. To be honest, I don't know what he ever saw in him. All the guy was good at was being an Elvis gimmick. That was what he was best at. And he was good at that. The guy was a good heel. But he shouldn't have been wrestling in 1994 for WCW on pay-per-view at Halloween Havoc 94. And I think he appeared at a Clash of Champions before that or after it. Number 9 is Honky Tonk Man. In 1994 in WCW, he shouldn't have been wrestling still. And the guy probably still appears and gets paid to wrestle on the indies. He probably does. Good for him. But I don't want to see him wrestle, and I didn't want to see him in 94. I was young. I was like 10 years old. And I was like, why is he in WCW? Why is he here? I don't want to see him. I never cared for him as a wrestler. Number 8. I love this guy. Nothing against him personally. The guy's an all-time great. The guy's a legend. The guy's a 2-time Hall of Famer. The guy's on the Mount Rushmore, on my Mount Rushmore of wrestling. If I could pick 4 or 5 names, this guy is one of the best in my top 5. But he shouldn't have been wrestling at this certain time I'm going to bring up. Number 8. Ric Flair, the Nature Boy in TNA. And I bring up Ric Flair because of TNA. He wrestled in TNA in 2010, and I think even 2011. I didn't need to see that. He should have not been in the ring. I didn't. He had no business still in the ring. I love Ric Flair, but he shouldn't have wrestled in TNA. Maybe he didn't want to. I don't know, but he was paid and given a contract, so they probably demanded he wrestle a little. So I don't. It's probably not Flair's fault, but still, number 8 is Ric Flair. Had no business in the ring in TNA in 2010 or 2011. Number 7. Again, I love this guy. The guy's a wrestling hero of mine. This guy is the top reason why I became a wrestling fan is when I first saw him on my TV. At 3 years old, then I was instantly hooked by a snap of a finger. I was hooked when I saw this guy. The guy's a Hall of Famer. The guy's on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, of wrestling. Number 7, Hulk Hogan in TNA in 2010. He should have not been wrestling. You could even say in 2006 in the WWE against Randy Orton, he shouldn't have been wrestling, but I didn't mind that. Number 7, Hulk Hogan in TNA in 2010. Had no business still wrestling. Number 6. I really liked this guy. He's a great big man. He's a great worker for his size. He's a great worker. Number 6, wrestlers that should have not still been wrestling. Number 6 is 1996 Yokozuna. It was sad to watch. It was sad to watch because he got so damn big. He got so damn obese. He couldn't even barely move. The guy got really obese. I don't think it's his fault, but he just got too obese, and it was sad to watch. He didn't look good in the ring anymore. At WrestleMania 12, he didn't look good. He didn't look good at, I think, In Your House, Beware of Dog against Vader. He didn't look good. Or against British Bulldog. One of them he was up against. And he looked really bad. You want to really get sad and depressed? Watch Survivor Series 96, the Yokozuna match that he's in. You'll get sad when you see how big he is. It was sad to watch. And that was his final pay-per-view for WWF was Survivor Series 96. Number 6, wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. 1996, Yokozuna. But rest in peace to him. I'm not disrespecting him. I just think he should have been off TV and tried to get healthy and not be as big as he was. And Vince is to blame too. You shouldn't have put him on TV. You should have got him some damn help to lose weight and not be as big as he got. But whatever. Vince, I guess, to defend Vince, you could say Yokozuna is a grown man and he shouldn't have let himself get so big and out of control. Number 5, wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. Number 5 is, where's number 5? Where did I put it? I'm trying to look here. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. So I'm back, and I found number 5. I couldn't find it. What I wrote down for my top 10 wrestlers that had no business still wrestling. Number 5, nothing against the guy. I heard he's a really nice guy. Really nice to fans. He seemed like a nice guy. but he had no business still wrestling. Number 5 is Giant Gonzalez. In 1993, WWF brought him in. He was in WCW in 1990 and 91 and a tiny bit of 92. He was known as LA Gante. I believe he also played basketball for the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA, I think, in the late 80s or 1990. And Ted Turner, I think, saw him on his basketball team because I believe Ted Turner used to own the Atlanta Hawks, I think. I know he owned the Atlanta Braves, but I think he owned the Atlanta Hawks also. So I think it's Ted Turner, saw LA Gante playing basketball, or somebody did, and thought, hey, let's put him in WCW and make him a wrestler, an attraction. And it might have worked. I'm not going to bring up if his run was bad or good in WCW. This is about Giant Gonzalez in 1993 had no business still wrestling. Maybe the guy wanted an extra payday. I don't know. Or maybe the guy loved wrestling and didn't want to stop. Maybe he wanted to go to the major leagues and try the WWF because he never was there before. I don't know. But in my opinion, he had no business still wrestling in 93. The guy could barely move. I don't know who was worse. I got my Who's Better series. I could do a Who's Worse between Giant Gonzalez and Great Khali. I don't know who was worse. Number 5, Giant Gonzalez in 93. Number 4, Brie Bella. Brie Bella had no business still wrestling or whatever the hell. Yeah, she had no business still wrestling. Brie Bella is number 4. Brie Bella in 2018 had no business still wrestling. I get it. I get why she came back. So someday her daughter could watch her on video because her kid was too young. I believe in 2018, the kid was too young. Birdie was too young, I believe, to understand what her mother was doing. She might have recognized her mother, but she didn't know what the hell she was doing. Number 4, Brie Bella in 2018. Again, she had no business wrestling. She injured. Liv Morgan knocked her out. Could have broke her nose. Could have injured her really bad. Could have injured herself. Brie, and look, accidents happen. I get it. Brie shouldn't have been blamed 100% for kicking Liv in the face. And I guess she was doing a real kick to the face because she wanted to kick her in the chest, but I don't know, Liv moved her head or something, went bad. Accidents happen. It wasn't Brie's fault. But then she did a dive to the floor, I think through the second rope, and she botched it badly. She botched it really badly. She could have landed on her head and broke her neck and been paralyzed. Number 4, Brie Bella in 2018. I probably could have said Brie Bella in 2014. She should have stopped and had no business in the ring. Number 3, and I love this guy. He's a hardcore legend. Nothing against him. He could probably still kick my ass if he heard I put him on his top 10, but he's never going to hear about it. He probably could literally still beat the shit out of me and scare me to death at 75 years old. Number 3, Terry Funk. After 1997, the guy did a lot of retirements and kept coming back. But Terry Funk, after 1997, the guy had no business still wrestling. He was really beat up. His knees were really shot. I mean, watch Beyond the Mat movie, documentary. Watch it. You have a doctor telling Terry Funk your knees are gone. You shouldn't even be able to walk anymore. And the guy kept wrestling. After 97, he kept wrestling for WWF during the Attitude Era. Went to WCW. Went to the shit promotion XPW. Went to TNA for like one appearance. And went on the Indies. And probably went back to Japan a lot. Number 3, Terry Funk after 1997. The guy no business still wrestling. Number 2, this was really bad. She had no business still wrestling after probably the late 70s. She shouldn't have been wrestling anymore. Number 2, the fabulous Moolah. I'm going to say after 1973. She had no business still wrestling. And I didn't see her work before 75 or 76. I think I saw her work in 78 or 77 on a WWE Network house show from MSG. I think it was the late 70s, and she was no good then. She looked out of shape. She looked like she didn't care anymore. She looked like she was just there for a payday and didn't want to be in the ring anymore and didn't have it anymore. And this was in the 70s. She looked like she shouldn't have been in the ring anymore. And she kept going and going and going in the 80s. She's like a cockroach. Step on her, step on her, step on her. She kept moving and staying alive and kept going and going. Unbelievable. Number 2, fabulous Moolah. Should have gave it up and stopped wrestling after 73. Number one. Wrestlers that had no business still wrestling after 2007. This guy, no business still wrestling. The Great Khali. Look, he debuted, I think, in 06. He wasn't that bad. He actually had decent matches with The Undertaker because The Undertaker carried him. Still, he wasn't that awful in 06. But after 07, he had no business wrestling. He probably had no business. Maybe it was 07 he debuted. I don't remember. It was 06 or 07. After, he was in wrestling for 6 months or a year. The guy, no business, still wrestling. Number 1, the Great Khali. Hope you enjoyed this countdown. My top 10 wrestlers that had no business wrestling. Abdullah the Butcher could have been number 1. I hate that fat fuck. He could have been number 1. Great Khali, I heard, is a really nice guy, so he probably shouldn't be number 1, but he is. Again, hope you enjoyed this top 10 countdown. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a great weekend. Bye for now, everybody.